What's up, comment crew? Welcome back to another episode of the comment section. I am your host, T.
And I'm your host, Coco.
And today we have a special guest. We are going to be talking to Miss Kim about some therapy today. So we usually start our episodes off checking in with each other, kind of like seeing how our day went, seeing how our week's been going, trying to mentally check in on each other, making sure we're okay. And since this is the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, we did want to ask you like some better ways to ask in depth, how are you doing? Like, you know how we ask surface level, like, how are you doing? We don't really get to people and really check on them.
Right,
So what's like a better way to check in on your
really
friends or really feel?
You know, I think it's important to understand the relationship that you have with that person because you can't treat every check-in the same.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I can, hit you up and be like, happy hour 6 o'clock. And then from there, we have a couple of drinks and then we get into the nitty gritty of, hey, I heard the last time we spoke, this and this was going on.
Right.
How was that? Kind of checking up on things that happened previously or even just sharing social media. If you're on social media with each other, just paying attention to some of the posts they see.
Right.
Of course, there's subliminals and we can post whatever we want. But, sometimes just be like, hey, I saw that.
Right.
See you if you need anything. I'm always open.
Right.
Okay. That is good because we do that. Like we both like see each other post stuff, so I see everything you post. I know sometimes I might comment on it and be like, "What's wrong with you?" or like something like that. So I like that. Especially since how much people are using social media these days. Like
and how much people are using like the memes to post things. And I know, like they say, everything is not directly about me, but a lot of times
it's some underlying projection.
It's something that triggers you to say, let me post this on my story, or you know what I'm saying? So,
I want somebody to understand this. I want somebody to see this. I want somebody to know how I'm feeling without me directly telling them. So I like that. So we're just gonna check in. I know, I talked to you all week, so I want to check in on Miss Kim first. Like, how are you doing? Like, today, like, how's your day been? Are you mentally checked in?
I typically check in with myself in the mornings and, I kind of assess just in general how my week has been because it's been a little longer than it needed to be.
Right.
But,
it's like that
it's just important about your perspective. Like, some things may not go your way, but there are blessings in the things that don't go your way.
Right.
So I just try to choose to have a better perspective about things. But no, it's been a good day. It's been hot.
Oh yes, that's
Houston. Are you do you work outside or do you have do you spend a lot of time outside for what you do during the day or?
Yes, sometimes because sometimes I drive. So I am outside in the middle.
So
of the
you meet clients basically like mobily.
Yeah.
Or you come to them basically.
Yeah, so I have my my feet in a few things. So it does require me to be outside. So sometimes when I do meet clients outside, it's at a park or at a coffee shop or I have kids, so taking them to the park in the middle of the day sometimes because summertime is coming up. So
you gotta meet people where they are. So
I'm outside.
I like that. I like that.
In her bag.
Fun and professionally.
Yes. Right. Okay.
I like that. So just kind of like tell the people a little more about yourself, what you specialize in, like, what you do.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'm Kim. I'm a Houston native. I have 3 children. I am in school for psychology right now. That's going. As I said previously, I have my feet in a few things. So I'm a mobile notary. I do work at a restaurant, serving, bartending. And then I said I was driving earlier. And then as one of my hobbies, I do like doing life coaching as well because I'm going to school for psychology, but I just feel like
something
I have
to get your feet in the industry,
but I still like being in service to people, so it's something that I still enjoy doing. So by the time I get up there,
right.
Gotcha.
I like that. So you kind of just pretty much took something you already enjoyed doing and went to school for it, basically, just to get the
proper knowledge. Okay. So with you doing psychology, are you like planning on doing like the LPC route,
Yeah, I'm going like all the way. I'm going from my PhD.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get into neuropsychology.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That's interesting.
You want to learn about the mind for real. You really want to know.
Like really figuring out, like getting to the depth of how everything works in attachment to just your spine, to your nerves, everything.
Okay. Yeah. Because the stress is all throughout your body. It doesn't just It's not a mind thing.
It goes a lot deeper than what a lot of people realize.
Right.
So yeah, absolutely.
I like that. So I wanted to start off with a couple of statistics because this is, like we said, the end of Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are also coming up on Juneteenth next month. So we celebrating that, and I kind of want to talk about Black mental health and how the mental health is in the Black society. So my first statistic was most Black people living below poverty are twice as likely to report serious psychological distress than those living over 2 times poverty level. And with us coming into a new recession, so they say, I feel like we've been in it for a couple of years, but newly recession and just coming off the pandemic, how do you feel like financially that is really, or not even just financially, mentally, all of that is taking a toll on us, like as a race, as a whole?
I think that there were already issues within the community prior to the pandemic. And because of the pandemic, it has caused it to just get bigger than where it already was. And I am glad that in 2023 now that we're getting to a point to where, hey, that's not normal, or that's not okay.
Right.
But social media has brought people together in a sense.
Right.
And I think that because of the pandemic and the isolation, finances, worrying about your health, because, a lot of people, they were still outside having fun, not taking care of themselves, let's be honest. But there were a lot of us that were still concerned. There was a lot of us that had family that could get sick super easily. I had a few family members, so it's definitely affected us. But I also think that it has helped us see more issues that were going on.
Yeah, I agree. I can agree.
Right.
I feel like it's because of the social media that is teaching us, more. So we're learning more, we're doing more. Sure. And I kind of had that experience when I first went to a therapist. I remember a few years ago, one of my jobs were offering counseling to us because I feel like we was there so long. They feel like, the hours were so stressful. And I took up on a couple of them. I'm mainly trying to get out of, working, but they still paying me while I'm in there getting some counseling. But the lady was really insightful, but a lot of her advice was rooted in going to church or just believing in faith more, which was good advice. But
without work.
Right, but I just needed something like tangible, something right here that, like, some steps I can do right here today, to kind of like just ease the stress or whatever, anything.
Some coping skills.
Yeah. Some better coping mechanisms other than just smoking all day. But I just was like, dang, I hope, I don't know. She didn't really ruin my like ideas for therapists, but I was just like, I hope I don't run into too many more people that's just going to try to like, and I thought I liked older Black lady. Maybe I should do like a Black lady around my age a little more. She was an older Black lady, so.
That happens a
lot.
And
then too,
people realize. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna say a lot of people are. You have to know too. A lot of people are Christian based. So even if I'm a therapist and I'm licensed to be a therapist, you still have those people that they have the fundamentals of what they counsel.
Why they even why they even felt the need to counsel.
Right, that could be a factor too. Like some people are strictly like Christian based or whatever their specialty is. They don't go outside of those realms. Basically.
So do you think that that's the kind of counselor you'll be in a few years? Because
No, because so little background. I have my degree in psychology, my undergrad in psychology, and then I have my master's in counseling. And so I really just need to go do my LPC, take my test, and get my hours. But I haven't done that yet. But my thing was not for me to talk about more so God. It was more so to have more, like you said, tangible things, more things that you could actually use mechanisms at home, things that you can pass down to your children to be able to use to decrease conflict, to decrease, the things that we deal with. So no, do I believe in the Bible and God? Yes, but a lot of times I always think of it as like you have to be able to reach everybody,
right? And
everybody is not in the same. They don't believe in what I believe in, but that doesn't mean they need less counsel or less help because they don't believe what I believe in. So I always thought that it would, and I said this in when I was getting my undergrad. I was like, I get the being a Christian-based counselor, but I feel like it kind of puts you in a small
In a box. Yeah,
in a box. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody, and that would deter a lot of people if they don't believe in that already.
Mm-hmm.
It's one thing for people that believe and they say, okay, I'm gonna stick to that. But if you have other people out here that are hurting, and so I think that it needs to be a little bit broader. So if I was to practice, I would be practicing to any and everybody. So
I like that. I like that. I feel like a lot is really based in religion and stuff like that. But you can still talk religion without being specific, you know, because like you said, everybody have different beliefs, different religions and stuff like that.
Right.
So
and I think people hide behind that. I think that's another way to do the things that we do and call
make
ourselves
it
it right. You know
make it feel like you're okay inside.
Yeah, like it's like, that might be cool, but let's take accountability.
Right.
Like let's, you know what I'm saying? Like
slowly turning into delusion.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that sometimes you need to step back from that, even if you do believe. And me as a believer, I have to step back from that and sometimes say, okay, no, you were wrong, or no, you should have went about this a little bit different. So I think that kind of puts allows people to hide behind, religion. Or,
I agree.
You know what I'm saying? What they believe in.
I agree. And you know how we said a few episodes ago, people will use like certain things, certain scriptures to fit, like, twist it and fit. I'm doing this right because this scripture says this. You know what I'm saying? So I do think that is a way people hide behind.
Just because you might be a part of the LGBTQ other letters group, doesn't mean that you don't have stressors, that you don't have depression, that you don't have all these things. Whereas that might be something hard to do if you were to go to somebody that was religion based. You know what I'm saying?
They might think that's your problem.
Right. And they can't even get around that because they so consumed with that. Right. Because the Bible says that
that's where your problem.
They missing you about to commit suicide. That lady was doing me.
I'm not gonna lie, because remember I told you I tried a relationship, a poly relationship, and that was around that time. So I'm telling her about that, and she was like, "Well, maybe that's not what the Lord want," or like, just stuff like that. And I was like, "She's not telling me what to do when I go home because I'm about to freak out. Like, it's bad." But just to bring it back in a little bit, so this is my last statistic. It says Black people, Americans, are less likely to commit suicide compared to white counterparts at all ages, but Black teenagers are more likely to commit suicide attempts than whites. So how do you think that our youth is starting to, with everything going, because they're digesting the same thing we are as adults pretty much right now, and that's the problem. How do you think that's affecting them?
I pray for the younger generation, because when we were that age, we didn't have social media.
Right.
And everything is on the internet. And while that can be good, they see everything bad too. And you have to start really having those tough conversations at a younger age to prepare them for the things that they see and that they hear and the things that and people that they're going to interact with. So I think it's affected them, but not to a point to where they're going to make the same mistakes we did. Right. They're going to see it for what it is and either say, no, that's not right, let's fix that, or, hey, that's okay, we'll leave it as is.
Right. Some of them are wise enough to know the difference, which ways to pivot. But
to that, for me, I feel like mental health is more of a aware, like people are conscious of it now. But I also think that it's almost kind of like we got so far of being conscious of being, talking to therapists and stuff like that, or expressing ourselves, that we almost hit a wall when we brought in social media and what social media stands for. Because I feel like students or kids in general, or children or young teens, they're not living their real lives. because social media is not real.
Yeah.
And
there's a press behind that screen.
Yeah,
They're
and
literally...
even like when we had social media, it was real. Like when we had MySpace, the 5 people that was at the top, that was really our friends.
Yeah.
You know,
it wasn't too many edits on our pictures. Like the pictures I could find from back in the days didn't have a filter on it or nothing.
Like, it had like a little glittery background.
Yeah. Oh God.
Like,
we didn't have to have lashes on. We didn't have to have lace on. We didn't have to have makeup. We didn't have all of that stuff. It was like we were really just whoever we were at school. We was doing that.
That's exactly who we were online.
Yeah, like we wasn't like, oh, do that video again.
Mm-hmm.
You know, these kids like they cannot really.
Or some of these high schoolers might go to school with somebody that's a TikTok famous person. You know, they might have 1 million followers on TikTok or this, that, and the third. And like, you go to school with this person, and y'all, you know, she a regular person to you, but when she walk out of here or on the other side of that screen, you know, it's like a whole different ballpark. So I agree with you. I pray for him a lot because I don't know if they all have the wherewithal to know the difference, you know, where to.
The best you can do, I think you just have to just reiterate it to them as much as you can. I'm not really one that's really big on repeating myself, but at the same time, it's like, hey, before we go out here or before this happens, or just giving you information before, so that way when you, or if you ever run into something, it's okay, I've been seeing this. And a lot of times kids not even really going to be listening in that moment. So, but something somewhere is going to have them
right.
their little Rolodex.
Yep. Right.
When it's needed, then they're going to use it. But yeah, that's all we can do. Is
that's exactly how I do with my mom. Like the things she used to tell me is like back there in my little Rolodex, and then certain situations pop up, and I'm like, look, that's what she was talking about.
That's what I
try to do that to my nephew as much as possible because he's young, he's out here, he's a black 16-year-old, so that's a black man now, you know.
Basically.
So, yeah, that's basically a black man. And I try to tell him little stuff. I don't think he listened to me as much, like you said, but when he get into certain situations, he knows like, oh, okay, you know, I should have, or let me do this because I know if I go any further, it can get worse, you know. So I think we need to, just like you said, just talk to him, reiterate it as much as possible. We don't have the close communities like we used to back in the days. You know, used to go outside and be able to talk to. I know my homegirl Amy used to be my go-to person, and I used to just go talk to her. You know, it didn't matter about what, boys, school, whatever. Right. My mama getting on my nerves. She was just another adult that, like, you know, well, you can come sit up here and talk. She just listening. She probably ain't saying too much to me about it, just listening. She might correct me when I'm wrong here and there, but other than that, she just listens. You know what I'm saying? We don't have that much no more because nobody's sitting outside. Nobody really lives close.
I think too we have that, but I feel like because I know it's a lot of adults that are anxious to tell youth like this is what you should be doing. Don't do this. But these youth are so entitled and grown, and they growner than you. They know more than you. So it's like you liable to get hurt trying to talk to them and tell them right from wrong nowadays. You know, you couldn't even raise your voice above to an adult. Now they fighting adults. They, you know, so people are. I think people are minding their business now. Like it's like, I want to tell them to do this and do that, but I don't want the backlash that's gonna come with it. You just gotta pick and choose, though. Right.
Like if you see someone getting picked on, it's like, man, you know, cut it out. Like you go that way, you go that way.
Right.
But that's tough. You gotta mind your business, but kids have to know. They have to understand. That's why a lot of them really don't have respect for a bunch of us now. Like stuff probably doesn't happen to them in their lives, and adults probly just kind of swept it under.
Right.
Right. What's the point? I don't have nothing to listen to. I don't care to listen to.
Exactly.
It's a little bit of
both.
You do have to pick a good balance with them.
Okay, so I'm gonna move right into my questions. So, my questions are a little bit more juicy. So, like as far as like relationship wise, like, are you married, single, or dating?
When I feel like
now we getting into your business.
Dating when I feel like it.
Dating when you feel like okay. So with that being said, what is one thing from your life coach perspective or your mental health perspective, like that you would encourage men to do emotionally outside of like anything physical, emotionally to help with their mental health?
As far as with their partner or just them by
Just
themselves?
as them by themselves.
Find a way, whatever avenue you decide to go down, learn to communicate. Whether that is with a therapist, whether that is by reading books, by journaling, whatever avenue you decide to go down, I think communication is, and honesty is super, super important, because I feel like a lot of situations would not be, they wouldn't go as deep, or it wouldn't be as bad.
Yeah. Somebody would have just said something.
And honest and be like, hey, this is that. You're more than welcome to stay and tag along, or you're more than well to go this way. Either way, you're good to go.
Just being open and communicating what their real intentions are.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then two, I think that's really important.
Me
but
too.
two, I think that men need to declutter the idea of being this macho man that they can't dive into their feelings, because I think a lot of times men have so much more in them, but it's kind of like all behind,
boxed up behind an ego or something like that,
or
just
behind this idea that I have to be
strong.
This strong man. I have to be this provider. I'm not worried about emotions. I'm not worried about this. I gotta get this money. I gotta, you know what I'm saying? They so consumed with the things that the society has said. This is what a man is supposed to be doing. This is what they should be worried about.
Look at it from a man's perspective. You have, for years, men are told, don't do this way. I bet I see you crying. You can't wear certain colors. You can't wear certain things. Most men don't even receive flowers until they're dead. So there's so many things that men are just not allowed to do. And as you become an adult, you don't know what to do with it. It's just power. It's just like a big onion, and you just have to slowly peel back those layers. But I think that finding a community, your specific community that will support you, that won't talk mess behind your back, or that won't try to like play you if you be like, hey bro, my favorite color is like peach pink or something like that. You don't need somebody to, man, that's gay, move on with all that. Right now, just like, okay bro, I see you, that's cool. Like, there ain't gotta be nothing weird about it. But they just have a lot of pressure on them.
They do.
And I know as Black women, we have a ton. But Black men, you know, just men in general, I guess they have a lot more pressure.
No, you said it right, Black men.
Yeah,
Black men,
you said it right.
Yeah, you said it right.
You said it right.
They have a lot more
I wouldn't even say like, and I might get canceled for this, but white men, they don't have nearly as much on them as a Black man. They can drive in their cars freely. They can speed down the road. They can hit somebody while they're doing it.
They can pull up to anywhere and not nobody look at them sideways. Like,
they can get any job.
Do they belong, and do they got enough money to be eating here?
They have a lot more pressure, and you know, just giving them grace. I think it's important for us on our part, because a lot of times it's rooted in the girlfriends, the sisters, the aunties,
the mamas,
the grandmamas. It's rooted in us too. So I think it's important for us to give them grace and be like, hey, if you like that, that's okay.
And I think as Black women, we need to know the difference between grace and leniency on your boundaries and stuff. Like grace is just, you know, allowing him to grow or feel or, you know, whatever. But don't let them
walk off.
And that's like whatever capacity you decide for that.
Right.
That's just because someone's growing does not mean you have to be right next to
them
in that journey. Like, no, I can still appreciate you and love you from a distance. You gotta do that yourself.
Exactly. That's taking up too much of my time.
And that leads me to my next question about how do you know when so how do you feel about having too high standards, and how can people that are people pleaser bring their standards up and not have too low standards, worried about, you know, what outside influences?
That's a good question.
You know, it starts with yourself. You know, I hear stories about people, even myself included. We've all had moments where like we feel pretty down about ourselves, but I think it's really important for us to set something, whether some sort of routine or something, to remind us that we are important and that we don't deserve the things that we may have let ourselves go through at the time. Because when something bad happens to you, those thoughts start kicking in.
The past don't define you, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's just, or the past doesn't define me, or I forgive myself. Or it's in, what's Janelle Monáe say on that interview? It's, you should be giving yourself the most grace than you give anybody else in your life.
Right.
Because you have to live with you. So
Right.
when you have all this doubt and guilt, it's gonna sit in your mind,
Right.
and then it festers. You'd be surprised. That stuff can make you like actually
sick. Yeah.
So just reminding yourself that you are that person, and trusting yourself the first time you don't like something.
I like that.
If you see something about somebody or something happens to you and you don't really like it,
believe
like
it.
take a moment. You don't have to just go off on them.
Right.
Like, nah, don't do that no more. Like actually figure out why it bothered you, so you can sit down and have a conversation with that person. So then they can really get an understanding as to this is how I affected them. And if you're dealing with the right person, they will listen without hollering like a hurt dog.
Right.
And, really receive it, like you said, and talk to you about it.
Right.
Now, if they don't decide they want to talk to you about it, and they be like, man, I don't know what you're talking about, or I don't understand that, or why are you making a big deal out of it?
Yeah, it's like
that intuition you got right there.
Right. You already know.
See, they're already right there. Don't skip on that.
Right.
You know
and just to piggyback off of that, I had a commenter write into us and ask a question. So it kind of pertains to that as well. It says, I watch your podcast and I think a lot of women do too. So I have a question I would love for you to clear up. I had a woman tell me that women should never date below their level. That's where they go wrong. So I asked, what are levels to women? What are they all talking about? And be specific.
Whatever her level is, your level might be different than my level.
So when we talking levels, we speaking on boundaries or like what we accept in our life. I don't want to say boundaries because people say these words are okay.
I would say maybe standards. Like your standards may not be mine, and if I am genuinely happy, it's not hurting nobody. I'm not out here just doing anything malicious. That's mine. Go for the moon.
Right.
Whatever you desire, your heart's desire, but everybody's standards don't look the same. I think it's just important for everybody to be like, you know what, if you want to cry in a Bentley, that's cool. I'm gonna cry in my other car. Right. Okay, and I'm happy. Or I don't need to go out every single night for this activity. I can sit back and garden at home.
Right.
Your standards of wanting him to have this amount of things, that's cool. That's for you. But if I want something maybe a little more simple life, that's okay too.
What do you think about people's standards not really mirroring them or like the type of person they are? Somebody might be here but have standards up here. So like,
it's time to start breaking down why you want those standards. Like, how much time are you spending on social media to where those things are now influencing you to where, oh dang, that would look really nice, or oh well, if he did this for her, why is he not doing this for me?
Right.
Like stuff like that, either social media or just, again, why do you have those standards? Who has been telling you?
Really look into them.
Do you really want those standards? Are those something, or those things that's really going to be what you, like, don't just copy and paste it because society or America told you that those are the things you were supposed to have. Like I was saying earlier, if you want to sit back at home all day and read your books and watch TV, that's cool. Like, but don't try to inflict that upon other people.
Right.
And like I said, if ain't nobody out here being malicious, then
I like that.
So you heard. I'm sorry. Y'all heard the video from Gabrielle Union when she was like how they do 50-50 in them. So I was watching another podcast, and so the guy that's over the podcast, I can't wait to go on his podcast and just shut him down.
You just know you're gonna go up there.
I just want to go on his podcast because like he was just doing them so bad, and they didn't have nobody
had the comebacks for him.
Yeah. And I was like, no, girl, you should have said this. Like, I wish you wanted to talk to the phone. But anyways, he talked about, he opened up and he was like, so I know everybody's seen the Gabrielle Union video about how she goes 50-50 and they're millionaires and this and that. And then he was like, and when she said that, the whole internet was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. I understand it. And he was like, but for centuries, the argument has been, I ain't gonna be with no man that's going 50-50. I'm not going 50-50 with nobody. And he was like, this is a clear indication, and this is what I'm talking about, how we let social media decide what we do and what we don't do. Right. When in reality, you're not in none of these people's shoes. These people are multimillionaires. You don't have to do what they're doing. They don't have to do what you're doing. Everybody just needs to do what they need to do. And I think that plays a big role into people like that have, not people that have high standards, but people that have standards that, like you said, that they don't even have. Like,
right.
You want somebody
that's
6-figure or 7-figure business owner, but you work at McDonald's. Girl, like, stop. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's what...
Mirror your standards, or at least, like,
Or or at least build yourself up to
To
be
be
that woman
doing
that's
that.
going
That
to
deserves that.
marry
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
a millionaire.
Right,
Like,
right.
You really not just gonna meet a millionaire at McDonald's like that.
Right.
This ain't Princess
Yeah.
Frog. You know what
Gotta
I'm
be a
saying?
little
You don't meet
realistic.
him just randomly out the blue. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So, you talked about the high standards. Okay, so as far as like concerns in a relationship or going into a relationship, what are some things you feel like that people should get in the habit of doing when addressing certain concerns? Because a lot of things don't even have to be like an argument or have to be like a big disagreement.
Oh, I want to chime in on this one. You go first. I want to chime in.
People can disagree, but what are some things like you can just really do instead of like, oh, and I remember when you said, you know what I'm saying? Instead of doing that, what approach can people take, like as far as having a better
communication
and mental health awareness? You know, because how we respond and how we talk to people, it plays a big part on like their mental health.
Yeah.
And yours as well. You know, so.
I would first say that people need to start the transition of hearing to actually listen to what the people are saying versus just trying to respond. Trying to just jump in whenever you hear somebody say something and it's just like, oh, but wait, I have something to that. It's like, no, take a step back, like actually try to do your best to shut things off, going else inside your brain and listen to the words and process what they're saying. And a lot of times that's a lot harder than a lot of people would realize, because a lot of people don't typically practice proper communication between,
because they want to win the argument,
right? But they want to win, or they just immediately want to jump in, and they have a light bulb going on in their head, so it's like, oh, I have to like vomit work on
right.
But really listening and understanding your partner and doing it consistently. You can't just have one conversation a month and just think that y'all are like this.
Right.
Communication happens a lot. It happens damn near every day. It happens damn near every day. So checking in and maybe even with social media, using social media to send each other things that might be helpful for the communication. Be like, hey, I saw this, maybe we can try this exercise.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about the other night. So
I do that too.
You get an understanding.
Consistently putting in the work to sit back, listen, and learn to communicate. And I know a lot of times people are going back and forth, and sometimes the conversations get heated. I've gotten to a point to where sometimes, depending on who I'm talking to, and I know that sometimes they can just go a little longer, I'll stop and I'll take notes. Like in my phone, if I'm talking to them on the phone, like I'll actually open up my notepad and I'm like, I had something to say.
Because you have to listen.
I can feel it in my spirit that it's really on your heart and you really trying to let it go right now. So I'm gonna sit back, I'm gonna listen, but I'm gonna take these notes. So when I have questions, I'll be like, hey, you said this earlier, or I caught this earlier.
Right.
Can we talk
respond
about that
to different parts of the conversation? Yeah. I'm gonna try that though. I'm gonna really be listening to it. I'm gonna take a beat. Okay, so what you said, like, because you're really ready to like respond.
And then another good thing too, that I've been trying to do is validating people's feelings. Doesn't mean you agree,
right.
Validate that. Okay,
I can see why you feel that way.
Right. Okay.
I'm gonna have to start like choosing my word choice better too. Just like, cause like you said earlier, like something you said stuck out with me. I forgive myself or something like that. That's something like word choice is something huge. Like you just say it to yourself, or you just like, make it a habit, a daily routine, whatever it is. And it could be work wonders. Like
all of a sudden you'll just start feeling better. You'll just start just doing things naturally. Or when bad things happen, you don't hit that low.
Right.
It was like, yeah, that hurt a little bit, but all right, I'm good.
I know how to move forward.
Yeah.
But my response to your question, I think another thing we could do is this might be a little late for some people because they might be a couple years in, but early on in a relationship, I feel like in the dating process, we need to start asking more questions, having those harder conversations.
That matter.
Questions that matter. Like having those harder conversations instead of like figuring it out 2 or 3 years later or whatever the case may be. I think that's important because I noticed a lot of us be caught up in like the lust, or I just like this person so much. We forget to ask those questions.
And those the small things, they can be big things when you get into a relationship where you really with somebody. And it's funny that you said that because I was listening to the Know For Sure podcast, and so they were talking about this. They was like, "What do you like, sleeping with the fan on or the fan off?" Like,
no, really, we need to get specific.
You know what I'm saying? Like, do you sleep
real.
under the sheet or you sleep on top of the sheet? Because, like, that was one of the arguments I had with my husband. I used to be like, you is so ghetto. Like, pull the sheet back. Like, why you acting like you don't sleep?
My sheets is already off the bed because I don't even like it. I don't be under it. Like,
no, I made the bed and he was like, why you putting both of them sheets on? Just put the
That's me. I put the bottom one on and the comfort on top. I'm not even gonna play like that.
No.
During the winter. You can get that during the winter, but in the summertime, nah, just give me my one blanket.
Yeah.
What?
I already be hot. I be hot as it is. Like,
AC and fan.
The weaves be on your neck, and we gotta wear bonnets and stuff.
You need
already.
the sheet because this is
hot
why
up
you
in
need
there.
the sheet. You need the sheet because when you get hot, you take the comfort off, but you still have that level of like, I'm still under something.
No, friend, when you get hot,
it's too cold at that point.
Yeah.
At least a little more.
No.
That's why when you get hot, you just hang your leg out. That's all you do. You just put that mug out like
you might
that.
have to get it up to about the knee.
Yeah. You just hang it out.
I live for like layers of stuff on the bed.
That's too hot for me. That's too hot for me.
I'll do a weighted blanket though. I can't do too many sheets.
Yeah. A nice weighted blanket. I agree. I agree to that.
Yeah, and then it was like, do you like jersey sheets or do you like? I was
No.
like, nah, when you come
No,
in
you
with
really
jersey sheet, I'm done.
You need
Red
to
flag.
answer them.
Red
flag.
No, for real. But it's certain stuff like that. Like you said, people need to talk about the get down to the nitty gritty of stuff. This was another question they asked. At what age should your kids stop seeing you naked?
I don't even remember my kids ever seeing me naked.
Really? So that's what she said.
My
She was
mom
like,
used to walk around with her titties out.
Man,
I mean, one of my homeboys
Mine
accidentally
too.
seen her titties one time. I'm like, oh my God. Like, embarrassing. That's funny though. But people definitely have a whole bunch of different standards. You can't get on Facebook or social media just to pick. I actually seen a post on Facebook that was going kind of viral saying, I love that I live my life off of Facebook and not let people, like post to pick what I'm doing, because we have this 50-50 conversation all the time. But in reality, if your man is broke right now, you're going to pay the bills. If you broke right now, your man just you do what you got to do to survive. Like nobody is really pulling up they finances and putting in all the bills and calculating and splitting them bitches down the middle.
Right.
Nobody, I'm sure.
You get the phone bill.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
let me just going in one account for most married people. Or most people in relationships.
Yeah, some of them.
Into one account and just.
That was another conversation. That was another conversation that DJ Envy was having on the Breakfast Club, because they were talking about Gabrielle Union in her 50-50 conversation. DJ Envy says him and his wife have one account that they both put their money in and they take the bills out of that account. Charlamagne said he just gives all his money to his wife. She got the account. And it had some callers that was like, oh, we have separate accounts. We come together to pay the bills. So people really run their marriages whatever fits for. Like, some people was getting on the phone saying, well, we only doing that because I never even thought of us putting, like, we had separate accounts. We had separate accounts when we were dating, and when we got married, it just was never really a thought to go get one account. So it ain't for no certain reason. It's just that just is what it is.
Yeah. We don't have. I don't have a joint account.
You don't?
Mm-mm. We have an account that we both use, that we both put money into, but it's really my account. It's not his account. So.
Right. So he don't really have no name on it or nothing like that. He just got
He
access
just trusting that I'm gonna not spend all his money and take and run off.
That's for sure. That's what Charlamagne doing.
Right.
He just giving all his money to his wife. He's like, hey, we grew up together, so it is what it is.
You gotta be careful with that though, because I've heard of people breaking up and they didn't have a policy. I mean, like a bank account together, but they had a policy, and she did all the paperwork, so she was the owner of the policy.
Right.
But it was for his kids that they didn't have together. So, like, say for instance, you and Bubba get together and he had kids, and he was like, "Can you get my baby some life insurance?" And you go get it, but
it's in my name.
But it's in your name, and when they broke up, she went and pulled out all of the money and like basically the
Just
policy,
kept it.
Yeah,
Just
she
closed the
left.
policy and took all the money.
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. So I was like, ooh, that's why you gotta, and then and they were only dating boyfriend and girlfriend, but that's why you gotta also too know what to do with a boyfriend and with a girlfriend, because you doing stuff that legally, you shouldn't have been even doing that. She shouldn't have, you know what I'm saying?
I knew somebody who like their girlfriend had all their information. I mean everything, and then they broke up, and he was like, "This bitch still got my social security. She know." Why did you give her that?
Oh, well, that was me.
That ain't me. That ain't me. I've never.
You don't know Bubba social?
Not by heart. This girl knew it like she knew hers. Like
I knew Carrie's.
I can't.
I know it right.
That's too deep for me.
So you better not
That's
play
too
with
deep
me.
in the trenches.
What?
You gonna scam that man? You gonna take his identity?
I would never scam him or do nothing, but it depends.
I'm talking about if he like cheating on you or something crazy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say, let me never say never, because I never. And if you play with me, like if you do something dirty, like you have a bitch in my house, or like you try to, I'm gonna never, and I'm gonna use that social security card on something. I'm gonna give it to somebody that know what to do with it.
No, for real.
Legally? Oh, I'm gonna do it legally, unlegally.
No, for real. I don't play. I'll get down. I don't.
You know, if you hurt enough, you would do anything.
And did me back like you weren't supposed to do that. I was gonna take care of it for you.
Oh, you right.
That has happened to me too. That definitely has happened to me too. Especially as a youngin', I might have moved fast, and then next like 2 weeks later, it's like, bro, you should have just waited.
Yeah.
He was finna go to jail anyway.
Right.
You could have just waited. But that's it for my questions. I don't have any more statistics for the day. Y'all know I had to get on the knowledgeable side of things. Right. What about you?
I think that's it for me.
That's it?
Yes.
Okay. This was a very good episode, y'all. We had some juicy topics and stuff. And
thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming out. We enjoyed you. We're gonna do it again too with more women. So we probably gonna have like a round table talk, do it again. So we definitely gonna group you in on that. So we'll go to our word of the day. See y'all later.
Hey, partners in crime. Listen up. Have you been searching for someone to serve you that ultimate glam look, but you just can't seem to find the right fit? Well, I think I may be able to guide you in the right direction. Miss Tia Edwards is a certified and professional makeup artist located in Houston, Texas. Tia specializes in makeup, ombre brows, as well as brow tint and waxing. Go ahead and follow her on her Instagram at everythingbrows_beauty to book your next look. Don't worry, you won't be disappointed. And let her know that Crime Critics in Chaos sent you.
Shop bodyconscioushcx.com. Shop Body Conscious for all your body goals needs.
All right, guys, we are back with our word of the day.
Yes, y'all know we always have to leave y'all with something positive, something knowledgeable.
Yes.
Something healing. And since we've been talking about healing today, I think we're on the right path with this word of the day.
Yes. So simply, the word of the day today is avoidance is not a healing strategy. So basically, avoiding things does not mean you're healed. Avoiding hard conversations, avoiding people, avoiding places that
doesn't mean they don't exist. That doesn't mean the conversation shouldn't still be had.
Right.
At whatever time you feel like you get yourself together and you do whatever you need to do, you still have to visit those hard times.
Yeah.
You know? So it's better to do them when you're in a much more healed place.
Right.
Than in, frustration or stress or whatever. But yeah, you definitely still have to have those hard conversations, family, relationships, friends, with God, yourself, everybody. Yeah. Sometimes you need to talk to a therapist, so you can get a third opinion, an outside opinion, some insight. So
yeah, and so I know previously I had friends that they would not a friends, but one friend, she told me about her trauma of being molested by her dad in the tub. He used to do it when he used to take her a bath. And how she avoided
just taking
bath. No, to the extreme of taking not taking baths full. She would get in the shower, get out, sitting down in the tub because she just had that past trauma that she just avoided. And I was like, girl, you missing out on not trying to disregard what happened because it was serious, but you missing out on something, you know, self-care. You gotta at least once a month,
get
sit
in there
down
and soak.
Soak your body,
away,
as a
soak
woman.
The stress, soak the your
Yeah.
aches, pains, joints.
Yeah,
all that.
anything. And so I think that she just avoided it, and then she
Mhm.
thought that it was good. But when you start doing, you think you're avoiding something, thinking that, oh, I'm good, I'm healed. A lot of times you find out that you are so far from healed than you thought.
Right, you're further away from it than
Yes,
you
it
think
ends
you're
up
at peace. But if little things like that could trigger you or remind you,
right
you have to visit those hard places so you can
all
get
over
past
again.
that. So
Right.
I think that is a thing. Having things remind you of certain things that just give you traumatic experiences. So I'm a person that sees like certain things, and I'll be like, damn, I remember when that happened, or
Right,
shit like that.
right.
So I know that happens to everybody in different levels.
Right.
You just gotta learn how to cope with them. You gotta
Yeah,
not
and
really
as
cope with
Black
them.
people, like, we need to learn how to not sweep things under the rug, like, because
that's so in our culture.
it festers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Things just become bigger. Like, I know, like, in Carrie family, they can be arguing in 1 minute, and then it's like we good the next. And that is good to not hold a grudge and stuff like that. But sometimes if it's something deep enough and it should have been talked about and it wasn't, then things can
those things need to be
it can get worse. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So just learn to like not avoid things and
just have those hard
heal.
conversations, have those tough moments, talk it out, cry it out, do whatever you have to do to get through it, because you have to get to the other side to have some peace within yourself. So
exactly
that is our word for the day, and that was another beautiful episode.
Right.
I enjoyed today. I enjoyed the conversations we had.
Great
These
conversation.
were some good conversations. I think that since we're closing off Mental Health Month, I think we need to start getting together and doing like Black women little, things.
We need to put one together.
Yeah, how I've been talking to you about doing like a little open table, round chair talk, like all of us, just getting together and talking about traumas or whatever we have going.
Being a shoulder to cry on, or lean on, just somebody to express something.
More community, like more how it was back in the 80s and stuff when women were like, sitting around knitting together, talking.
What Betty Wright said.
Like
we used to, when people tell you about their breakup, they used to throw parties, bring together all the food.
Yeah, we having a card game and stuff.
Right.
Like all that. Like sit around, talk, cry, drink, whatever you gotta do. But I think we need to do that more as Black women. So y'all be on the lookout for that. I don't want to give it a time or a date or nothing like that, but just know that we working on like getting together, and we still gonna record the podcast. Probably like a little.
We might even make it a podcast segment.
Yeah.
On some parts.
Yeah, I was just gonna say on some parts. I know everybody don't want to be vulnerable on camera or want to talk about their trauma.
Want their business out there.
But we can definitely make it an informative, knowledgeable episode.
Definitely.
Get some good footage and get some good conversations from different people. So yeah, y'all be on the lookout for that. And if you want to come or if you want to contribute, let us know how we can make this happen. Feel free to DM us, let us know. And
until next time. Else? No, I don't. This is a great show. We learned some things today. And so until next time, guys.
Next time, Crime and Crew. 6.